Lynn is my junior. She did her master's in wildlife biology. Tell us about your journey, like in wildlife, and why did you decide to become a coffee farmer and quit a career in wildlife biology and then come back to your farm and like take up coffee farming?
Actually, my journey did start with wildlife. So I've done my master's in wildlife conservation action in Pune
Okay.
from Bharati Vidyapeeth University. And for my research, I have actually done my research project on the diversity of birds in forests and coffee plantations
Oh, okay.
around Chikmagaluru, Magundi itself.
So you're dealing with birds, ornithology.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was more into birds,
Okay.
working with them, understanding that how many of the birds are actually there. And I started with that. But every time I would go and research, by the end of my everyday walk, I would get to see the coffee laborers, working at the farm. There's always something always interesting going on the background. And I used to always get to see that like a daily thing. And yeah, before I knew it, I, finished my research. I got to see how we had a very high diversity of birds in our coffee plantations. And I also got to see in that span of 4 months, how the birds are affected for a period of 1.5 month. And the reason being that the ground level birds that are supposed to be there were absent for 1.5 months.
How?
And I was wondering exactly what is the reason behind this. And I kept asking my dad, what is really going on? What's the work?
Which bird specifically?
The ground level birds,
Okay. Okay.
which are granivorous birds. They eat the seeds.
Okay.
Okay.
Of coffee too?
No, they
Not-
eat the seeds of the grass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I couldn't figure out like why are these birds really absent. So when I asked my dad, we were like looking at each and every work happening at the farm, trying to jot down, okay, what's the reason? What's the reason? And we realized that we had been weeding the estate at that time, which basically means removing the weeds from the ground level so that we can put the manure at that time. And so that was what was happening, and the birds were actually being affected.
Wow.
And I made up my mind on that day when I realized that, okay, I need to go sustainable. And that's how I started my journey. And I actually started managing the estate from then onwards. But I didn't manage for more than 6 to 7 months because I already got introduced to different things with coffee, getting to meet different planters, getting to see, oh, people are trying such unique things out there. People are drying coffees on raised beds. They're fermenting coffees. Oh my God, what's really happening,
Okay. Nice.
And it got me really interested, into all of this. And before I knew it, I turned from manager to processing coffees and making
Hands-on.
making specialty coffees within no time.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that was my little journey from wildlife to getting to coffee plantation. And speaking of specialty coffee, so I started in November 2021, and I started working with 6 lots of coffee where I, just processed it in different ways. I absolutely had no hopes on how it's going to turn out or how are people going to like it. I didn't know any of that.
Just experimenting.
Yeah, just experimented with 6 lots, just see what's going to happen.
So what do you
And
mean by 6 lots? Like 6 different
6
coffee?
different lots processed in a very different way. Like
Okay,
each
okay,
fermentation is
okay.
very unique, very
Then take
different.
a survey which one does well.
Basically
with,
wanting to see what's going to do well, which of these 6 will be the best.
Can we
right?
talk about this thing later? Because I
Yeah.
think this is going to be could be a next topic. I think a huge topic, specialty coffee. I
Yes.
would like to really know more about specialty coffee. Right now, you did specialty coffee. And my question is actually, you were doing your wildlife research at your coffee estate itself. So your first observation was the absence of ground nesting birds.
Ground level birds.
Ground level
Yeah.
birds. Sorry. did you make any other observations like how birds interact with the coffee farm? Do they? Was there any interaction to the ecology in the coffee estate?
Uh, it's, I think for birds, no, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe for monkeys, yes.
Mm-hmm. Do
Yeah.
wildlife show up in your farm?
There are a lot of bonnet macaques actually in our coffee plantation.
Okay.
And they keep jumping from bamboos to arecas and, they keep coming down to the coffees
Okay.
during the harvest time, which is in
Mhm,
December.
mhm,
So if you're like, it's your lucky day, you actually get to see a group of monkeys sitting on the coffee trees, swaying from the top canopy to, down to the coffee trees and grabbing either coffee cherries or sometimes they break the entire branch. And the minute they see us, they like run to the top canopy and they sit and eat these
Okay.
coffees.
Do they eat coffee?
Yeah,
Oh,
they eat the coffee cherries,
Okay.
and they spit out the beans.
Oh, they're just for the flesh of the fruit,
Yeah,
not for the
yes.
caffeine or something.
No, no, no.
That flesh doesn't have caffeine.
I actually don't know that
Okay,
much.
okay.
I think it has a certain level of caffeine because it's a robusta, species. So definitely it will have because when compared to Arabica, it's meant to have double the caffeine level. So of course there should be some amount of caffeine.
So I think that would be kind of an issue, like wildlife interacting with the farm. How do like neighbors and other farmers like cope up with that? Like, do they have any strategy to minimize, or they just let it? Let the wildlife, do whatever it wants to do.
I think it depends on the farmer how they look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people look at it as an issue. So, of course, they will get guns. They'll try to
Okay.
shoot. They will also try to get firecrackers, disturb them, basically chase them off and stuff like that. But I've also heard insane stories of this where people have been, telling, just paint the monkey silver. So when it goes back to its community, all the other monkeys are going to be scared. So like there are these weird things that you also get to hear.
Okay.
But because I'm a wildlife fan, I don't support any of this.
Yeah.
I like making money off that too.
Okay. How?
So I take these same the coffee beans that are put down, and it's already kind of fermented in a specific way.
Wow.
Then I further ferment it in another type of way, and I package and try to sell that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Directly from Primate's mouth.
Yeah.
Say. Just
because the reason being because they are so good at selecting the red coffee cherries. They pick only the best ones. It's not like they're gonna choose something bad. Of course, you're gonna.
It's not random.
Yeah, it's not random. It's like perfectly picked coffee cherries, the best ones. And we are
Wow.
basically utilizing that.
Nice. This
Nature's
is
pick. It's basically a nature's pick.
Very creative idea.
Yeah.
Very.